we're students from Mark Rutherford School, and here today we have Ethan, Casey and myself, Daisy. And we are going to talk to you about the Raspix and how and why we used it.
Now, the Raspix is a very exciting piece of technology. It's similar to the MX10, which you just heard about. However, it doesn't have some of the software problems that the MX10 experienced, and is not encumbered by a laptop or other heavy equipment. It's mobile and can connect to your phone or computer as you wish. It also allowed us to upload some exciting software to it, and us do some very exciting things.
So you may be wondering why we did this. Now, the primary reason was to clear up internet myths about how radioactive or unradioactive certain things are. We also wanted to do it to discover how radioactive certain things were, certain objects were, without us realizing it. So here are a few graphs to show that.
The first interesting result we have is granite. It's almost double the background radiation, which was very surprising. The LTV was interesting because it had over double the average HE photons and exceeded the emissions of Brazil nuts. Lastly, smoke detectors have the highest results, however emitted no HE photons.
Our second graph shows in more detail beta and electron readings. Now, the most surprising for us was probably cell phones. As you can see, they emit the same amount as bananas, which overall was not very surprising as we all know bananas are a source of radiation. Cell phones emit roughly the same amount of electrons, however they emit slightly less beta. Granite was quite interesting as it's well known as a source of radiation. However, it emitted no electrons and the same amount of beta as background readings. Low sodium salt was not overall surprising as it emitted as much as we expected in our hypothesis. Brazil nuts was also very surprising, as it's again a well-known source of radiation. However, it emitted no electrons and no more beta than background. Okay, nice one.
Over the period of time that we had access to the Raspix, we were able to pick up or develop various skills such as Python coding, which didn't really go very far, Excel graph plotting, and we were also able to gain optimum conditions for an experiment, ensuring that all relevant or data tampering equipment was at least 3 meters away from the testing zone.
We also prepared a scientific presentation and used scientific vocabulary to do this. And we also learned how to create rational deadlines. So ensuring that all team members were available on certain days and the equipment we used was available. And we had to make sure we met those deadlines. And during the process, we learned a lot of teamwork, even if it took a bit of effort and nudging on the shoulder and encouraging other students to do so.
Lastly, we learned how to sensibly and effectively handle the Raspix, as it's a very expensive piece of technology lent to us by IRIS, and there will be various problems caused if anything happened to it. Now, this has all been very helpful for us, and we look forward to putting it towards future projects with IRIS or any other organisation that approaches us personally or our school as a whole.
We also hope that students from our school will continue cooperating with IRIS and maybe build on our work.
You have been IRIS, we have been Mark Rutherford. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.
I was just wondering, what's the distinction between electrons and beta that you were observing there?
The distinction is that electrons tend to be lower energy, than beta. Beta is still electrons, it's just their higher energy.
Okay, thank you.
Could you just put your results into context for me? I noticed the sort of y-axis was 10, 15 in terms of your counts. What would be a number that would be a dangerous number for a count of radiation?
Do you do it with any sources? You do it. So I think that's something. I think on the internet we kind of researched it, but it was in like a different unit, so it wasn't very comparable because this was more a kind of count of the like beta or gamma, whereas on the internet it takes it in like a different unit, I think. So it wasn't quite that easy to compare, but this was a low level because it was